Now we'll call the meeting to order. Do I have a second? All in favor? And we need to amend our agenda. We need to add number 18, Jan Eaton. Do I have a motion to make that? Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? Okay, and if everybody will stand with me, for prayer and pledge.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come tonight praying that you would be with us as we start out another term in the city of Blue Ridge, and be with the mayor and council, and just guide them and direct them in everything they do for this next 4 years. And we just pray that you forgive us where we fail you. For we ask these things in thy holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for appointment by mayor and Springfield Council following city clerk, chief of police, city attorney is on there, and city judge. I guess we will do these one at a time. City clerk will remain Bill Flowers. Is my suggestion. Anybody else have anything else?
I'd like to make a motion, we appoint Bill Sowers as city clerk / treasurer.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Chief of police,
Make a motion, we appoint Johnny Sears as chief of police.
do we have a second? Second. All in favor? City attorney,
I make a motion, we appoint David Sutton as city attorney.
do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? City judge,
Make a motion, we appoint Robert Sneed as city judge.
do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? We need someone to serve as mayor pro temp in the event that I am unable to be here. Do we have a motion for someone to serve as mayor pro temp? Motion. I'll second. All in favor?
I'll guess I can vote on that.
Approved minutes for the previous meeting. I guess you've all had time to read through those. I got those earlier this morning. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Introduce Sunday sales ordinance or adopt a resolution.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we figure out the details on having the election.
Do I have any discussion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Was the discussion open to us too, or just y'all?
Any discussion is
Oh, okay.
after the first motion, then you can have discussion.
Okay.
Do you have some now?
I do. I'm just curious. I mean, I understand that there are issues and there are money issues, but I'm worried that it's already been put off till May. And that seems like plenty of time to finish or figure out those issues. I'd like to hear a motion to set a date and figure out the issues as we go. Because it's just going to put it off, and it's just revenues that we're going to be losing in the meantime.
The May is actually the time that the election can be called, it's the May election for the primary. But the March election, you were here this morning when I
Yeah.
said that can only be for someone that, to fill a vacancy in office.
Right, I understood that. I'm just
So
worried that
you've
we'll
got to
miss
have
that
60
window.
days before
60, okay.
60.
Well,
But
what
there is time.
I would be opposed to having a special call meeting. As soon as we get the election details worked out, so we know what we're paying for the election, and, you know,
Yeah, but why not approve, you know, the Sunday sales ordinance and then work to get it done?
because it's still gotta go for a vote for the people. I wanna make sure what we're gonna
But the
spend.
council still has to approve it to get the work done and move ahead, right?
Yes.
So you're gonna move ahead without an approval, you know? I would think you would wanna approve it, and then if you find out you couldn't do it.
Well, I'd really like to see us have the election worked out. I don't have a problem with doing it. I just want the election issue worked out first.
Okay.
You know, I didn't. Yes. So, you have that?
Well, with the 60-day lead, there would be no way to do that at the March meeting and actually get it done by May 20th. I would assume that would be way too close on that sort of 60 days, so it is time.
I actually think our attorney has started working on the Sunday sales ordinance anyway, because we had agreed last month that we were gonna probably move forward and do that.
So if he comes back and says, you know, it
I think
looks like it's gonna go ahead, you have a called meeting maybe?
I think there's ample time to do it, and we are, you know, I said this morning that I've contacted several people. I guess with the holidays and everything, people hadn't got all the answers back to me, and of course, they're all concerned about, I don't think they've released the dates as to, unless, I heard May the 20th, I think, for the primaries.
Yes.
Is that?
That is a legal date, yes, it's been published.
It has been published, okay. So I think a lot of people were waiting to see when and what was gonna happen. I don't know. But I have several calls out, and like I said this morning, a normal election is about $7,600 or whatever that number I had. But that's on the low side. So we know it's at least probably gonna be 7,600 or 7,400. I can't remember, does anybody remember the exact numbers?
Will the money become an issue?
I would think that the revenue we would offset from that, it would not be an issue, but that's a council decision too. Any other questions? Does the council have any comments about this question?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Since we have two new members, I'm curious where you all stand on the Sunday sales issue, Angie and Bruce.
Well, as far as this issue, considering the election cost $36,000, I think we definitely need to take into consideration and investigate and see what it's going to cost and see if we can get a superintendent of elections before we jump into something. This is actually something that could have possibly been on the election in November. Or, I mean, I can't say about that, but I mean, it's just, we don't need to press it, we need to get our ducks in a row. That's not.
I'm not gonna be for it.
Have you heard the arguments about the revenues it'll generate?
Well, there again, that's some things that we're gonna need to talk about, and no, I haven't really,
Okay.
so.
So if I may ask, why would you not be for it?
Well, that's part of my campaign that I that I put out there to the people I was talking to, and when people were asking me questions about alcohol or liquor, I told them my stance on it, so that's what we're getting to.
I do want to point out that if money's an issue for that, you said 36,000? You
That's
said
because of the issues
7,600.
we had in the last
The last,
election.
our actual
Okay.
election
So that's a big difference. But I think there's people in the room that would help fund that. Right, Steve?
And the election would not have cost so much had somebody started it from beginning to end too. So they took on liability of somebody else, so. Okay,
Hey,
any other
John.
questions?
I think the council should pursue that, what he's talking about. I don't think the taxpayers should have to pay for this election.
The taxpayers are definitely going to benefit from the proceeds of the revenues.
I mean, y'all are volunteering to pay for it, so, you know, why don't you?
I don't know that you can necessarily take money, because that's almost like buying votes. It's like,
Ray, you weren't here this morning, one of the
So I don't know that
questions
you can do that.
one of the things that I had mentioned, the county will have their election, in May also, and they know who are city voters from Blue Ridge and McCainville and Morganton, and one of my questions to Mary Connor was, is there any way that it can be set out to where just the Blue Ridge voters could vote on that one ticket item? And she didn't know the answer to that, and she was on vacation until this last week, I think. She was gonna investigate that when I talked to her. And
But-
there's no way to know until she talks to her.
But it's pretty clear that additionally you'll get $80,000 to $90,000 in revenue in the first year.
That's revenue we can look at. This just comes from the establishments. That doesn't, no one's even thought about what happens when Ingles on Sunday is able to sell, you know, beer and wine with groceries, because everyone's talked about, you know, that store that's out there is one of the top stores in their chain as far as food being sold. And the revenue that brings in is a whole another side of what the restaurant owners have been talking about. No one's ever touched that yet. We've never approached Ingles to even get a forecast from those folks. So when you talking $70,000 to $90,000, it could well be double that.
It wouldn't only be Eagles, it'd be our convenience stores also.
All of them, yeah, out of the blue.
So we are looking at package and pouring as a combined package at this point, not separating.
It's not package, it's off-premise. So on-premise is where you can consume alcohol.
Right, where you pour.
But if
But
package
Ingles-
implies liquor sales, and we don't have that here. So
But
it's,
you're talking about Ingles selling beer and wine on Sunday.
It's not
which is
packaged, but-
package sale.
well, but no, I think
But
that's,
it's beer and wine. package
it's
sales.
just
Okay,
Still
beer and
sell.
wine.
yeah, it's
But
off-premise.
that's not right now allowed,
No,
correct?
they cannot sell on Sunday.
Okay, so you'd have to have a separate ordinance for package and a separate ordinance
No.
for pouring, or
No.
they combined,
We'll look into that more. If that is that the
but at the
question?
same time.
It'd be the same vote.
But the package would only be beer and wine.
Yes, sir. Introduce, I'm sorry.
Are all the restaurants for the alcohol sales on Sunday, do they truly feel like that one day is affecting their business that much from the alcohol sales?
The one
that-
that I have heard from are, and so are a lot of the convenience stores, and I know that Eagles is because I've had them actually mention it a couple of times. I don't shop at Food Line, but I shop there occasionally, but I think they didn't say that quite right, did they? Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just don't believe they. I shop at Food Line, thank you very much, saved me there. But anyway, so I don't know, I've not heard from those folks, but I do know that Eagles has expressed an
The
interest.
restaurants that are pushing for alcohol, are they open on Sunday just for food sales?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them have said that they would be open.
But they're not open.
They're here. Some of them are here.
Angela,
And I think-
I'll give you an example. Would it be wise for the Blue Ridge Brewery to be open on a Sunday when someone comes there because it's the brewery, and then they have to just have a major discussion with why they can't sell them beer? And Dan, who owns the Black Bear Beer Garden, has said he tried to be open, and he actually got in fights or arguments with people that would say, well, why can't I have a beer? You're a beer garden. He says, well, and then he has to explain, and people got upset, so he closed down. So those are two examples.
Well, a lot
Steve
of times
can-
I have to explain why I'm in a church and open late.
Well, we're talking about
I know.
afternoon, yeah.
I know, but I'm saying, I know a couple of restaurants that have been.
Is your dad open on Sunday?
Yeah, but he's in
okay.
Tennessee.
I just wanted-
And so, yeah, he is, he's in Tennessee. But the fact is, I was just wondering, because I know a couple of restaurants that are open that do alcohol, that sell alcohol, and they say their sales are fine.
Well, that's, you're talking about Harvest, yeah, he says it, yeah, his sales are fine, but he's the only one open.
10 balloons.
So, 10 rooms, you know,
I don't know
so.
about that.
I just didn't know, I'm just asking, I'm not trying to argue. I just want to know how much they feel that this is affecting their business, because I know, you know, some days we're not busy, and I just didn't know if they were open, they still might have food sales.
Doesn't only affect the restaurant business, open on Sunday. We're open on Sunday for brunch. We have people come in from Alabama and different places around and actually say, you know, why don't we have it? Well, we explained that, you know, it just hasn't, time hasn't come yet. The other people are losing revenue, the bed tax. People check out and go where they, after dinner or weekend, so they can have a cocktail. They go up to Brasstown Ball. So it's not only affecting the restaurants, it's the people downtown too. The shops are open. And folks want to come into town and have full service.
And it's not just that, I mean, it's the meals too. I mean, I run the bed and breakfast right across the street, and when guests check in on Sunday, like, where do you suggest we go to have dinner? We just kind of look at each other and kind of laugh. We're like, well, let's see what time it is. There's always Waffle House, they're open. I mean, there's not hardly any options in town for guests to eat on a Sunday. And whether they want alcohol or not, a majority of the restaurants don't even open because they can't sell alcohol. So even the guests who don't want alcohol are still being left out because they don't have any options on Sundays.
One of the other things that they have pointed out a couple of times is that Saturday is their big day, Friday's their second big day, and they feel like Sunday would be their third biggest day if they can afford it. So, because it's a weekend, people are usually off, and they feel like they can keep people in town longer. I know that's been one of the things that's come up several times. Your dad might be a good person to go talk to and see if Sundays are.
I have a different opinion.
Any other questions? Introduce ordinance allowing distillery.
I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance to allow distilleries with the $2,000.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? All opposed? Approve purchase of water meters, master meters for water system.
I'd make a motion we approve the purchase of master meters for the water system after first talking to Alicia to make sure the money is available.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Approve the purchase of weights for new tractors.
Let's make a motion that we approve the purchase of the weights for the tractor. It's $1,200.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Accept the resignation from Angie Art for the Board of Appeals. I guess we should do that. Do we do that in a motion?
I'll make a motion we accept her resignation.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, we'll
Do I have, all in favor? You did say that. All in favor? Okay. And appoint replacement for the Board of Appeals.
I'd like to make a motion we appoint Nancy Weehunt for that board.
Okay.
Also, Nathan, if there's some other people there, I'd like to make a motion to do.
We've got one motion on the floor.
Shouldn't we put all their names up and let people vote?
One motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Second motion. All in favor? Reappoint Donnie Gillen to the Planning Commission.
Make a motion we reappoint Donna Gillen to the planning commission.
Do I have a second?
We've had a lot of discussion about this. I'd like to make a motion that we just go ahead and take the Summit Lane sewer line out of the project because that takes all liability off the city if it's removed.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All opposed? Three new computers for office and one for the water plant.
The motion, we purchase the computers for the office and work.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Mountain Street and East Main intersection.
I think what we talked about during the last couple of hours is actually just trying a new approach, removing or covering up the flashing light, and we'll have to announce that in probably 2 weeks. So I'd like to make a motion that we run an ad in the paper that we're going to cover the light, and then see how, we'll kind of go from there and see how that affects traffic.
Do I have a second?
This is what Greg.
You have a question?
Well, we have them down here, there's a few parking spaces that needs to be taken out. So they're not visible.
And Greg did suggest that in the city.
Okay, do you want to add that to your
Yes,
motion?
I will add that, removing the parking spaces at the end of Mount Street to that motion.
And covering the front. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Personnel.
I'd like to make a motion that, the changes made, yesterday, as far as the office employees, be put on hold until we have a chance to review them and discuss them.
Okay, and, have administrative power, so I don't know if you can do that. But I guess that's a good question to try to decide.
All of those changes.
Because of the water leak issues, I redid the, City Hall employees to where I could move someone else to the front desk to give Becky some relief to be able to help with the water department fix their water issues. Where is it? So we don't want to get our water leaks fixed.
Well, what me and you discussed was totally different than what you actually did. So, I mean,
I moved Sally to the front desk to help, I moved Jean to the front desk, and I actually put Becky helping Shannon.
I just think we need to discuss it.
And Alicia has been helping back up Gina with payroll, and so Alicia's got payroll for a couple of.
I think we have to ask ourselves, who has administrative authority here? We've got one person in charge who's our mayor. We have the city manager, and we, the council members, are here to make administrative policies, but not to implement. Donna is our leader. She's our mayor. And, you know, when you start trying to take away that power, there has to be some
Ain't
issue.
anything, I just said put it on hold.
But
so
she
we can
has,
discuss
well,
it.
then I say let's put the whole thing on hold and let's bring our attorney and let him
He
discuss.
made a motion. My answer is I have administrative power. I think that's what's in the best interest of the city, and I think that's the best way to make it function right now till we get our water leaks under control. That's my comment. Rhonda and Harold both were here and saw the issues that we had, and it was pretty important to get our water under control. It does take 2 people at that front counter at certain times. After the 15th of the month, it does not. But during that time, and until that time is up, you can't run that counter for one person. And Shannon does need the extra help. So you can make your motion. Do I have a Do you want to go one way or the other? Do you have a comment?
If there's a problem, I think we ought to discuss it.
Well, I didn't think it was a problem because I said, Rodney, I need your support on this, so I guess that's.
And I said, yes, I'd support you, but you didn't fully disclose everything you were doing.
What was not
You
disclosed?
told me, oh, Becky's having a hard time here and over here, Becky's having a hard time doing this, and I talked to Becky, and Becky says, no, I don't.
She was helping do something else and she could not do her regular duties, and she needed to train Gina to do some of those duties.
And I do know that Becky had a problem because I was in here the other night answering phone calls at 11 o'clock at night with water, and no one else was in here answering the phones. And I answered the phone so that she could help.
No one else even ready to help Becky.
I was here watching Donna, and Donna wouldn't have been here as a good leader. I don't know what would have happened. She's not, or Wednesday night, because I was here till 11 o'clock with her.
Harold was here with me.
And Harold.
Harold was here.
And Rhonda answered the phone.
That's all Rhonda could do to answer the phone. Becky couldn't, was so busy, the phone was ringing off the hook. And I was here watching Donna do an excellent job.
Well, the issue here is that the council's supposed to be involved in all this, and actually the final say comes from the council.
And the mayor has administrative power.
She has administrative power, Angie.
But right here.
Where was the council at that night?
Everybody look at and determine herself what it says, it's black and white.
She has administrative
Black and
power.
white.
What would you consider administrative power?
Administrative power is setting the policies.
No,
or
that's-
enforcing the policies that the county has set in place.
Actually, the council's job is to
I've got
submit
all of the
policies. That's what our job, our job is to vote. It is not to come here and run.
Okay, let me read section 322, employee appointment and removal. The mayor shall appoint and remove for cause with confirmation of appointment or removal by the city council. All officers, department heads, and employees of the city. Section 410, department heads. The city council by ordinance shall prescribe the functions or duties and establish, abolish, or alter all non-elective offices, positions of employment, departments, and agencies of the city as necessary for the proper administration of the affairs and government of the city.
And that means that we vote. Like if she's saying, I think Chad needs, we just did that, Angie. Chad, he's off his probation period. We voted on that. It's up to Donna to tell Chad, Chad, this is where you go work tomorrow.
That's
It's
not
up
the
to
way I
Chad
see it.
and it's up to Bill as managers. That it's not up to us to come in here and say, Chad, I think tomorrow you need to go fix the water leak on Dry Branch. That's not our job. Our job is not to run the city. Our job is to set policy and procedure. It's up to the administrative powers to actually implement. You've got your job description all right.
It's like powers and duties of mayor as the chief executive of this city. The mayor shall see that all laws and ordinances of the city are faithfully executed. 2, appoint and remove for cause of confirmation, appointment, or removal by the council or all officers, department heads, and employees of the city except as otherwise provided. 3, exercise supervision over all executive and administrative work of the city.
Supervision. When it comes to everything, been appointing employees.
I didn't appoint anybody. They're employees. They're not department heads. They're employees.
It says employees right here, department heads only.
I didn't appoint them to anything. They still have their same job duties. They're still doing their same jobs. Gina works for water, Becky works for water, Sally works in taxes and business. I just moved. I heard you wanted an office. I'm letting you go in there instead of building the office you want. So they're moved over there to help Becky out so Becky can do some other duties. Becky's gonna take on another role.
By the approval of the council.
Yeah, the council will have to approve. But you still have to have a manager to implement the day-to-day activities.
I'm just saying, I think we need to discuss it and try to work all of it.
I thought you and I had worked together. So, when we had the conversation on the phone, you were fine with whatever it took to fix water leaks.
Oh, I am.
Well,
But you
apparently
didn't,
not.
you didn't give me the whole story.
Apparently not, because we've had water
Apparently,
issues for 4 years.
there's a lot of this not getting the whole story around here, and that's what needs to
I know,
stop.
true. Just as you were involved, you were called for the meeting that we had back there the other day. You didn't answer your phone, but you didn't tell everybody.
Oh, no.
Becky did call
No,
me.
she called me and she said, yeah, I was going to talk to you about something, and blah, blah, blah. She never left me a message,
You never
and,
called her?
and she never said we was having a meeting. All she had to do is say, hey, we're having
We had a
a meeting.
meeting to tell the
But-
water department and the street department to help each other. Rhonda came by to talk about.
Takes 2 seconds to say, hey, we're having a meeting. We which, I mean, I showed up because I was calling and said, hey, they're having a meeting here, so I came.
She said she called you.
Yeah, she called me, but she didn't say
She
anything about
said
the
you
meeting.
never returned her call?
No, she is. I told her, I said,
Okay,
she said,
anyway,
"Good."
we have a first and a second, and all in favor? All opposed? Okay, you want to abstain? Okay, Jenny,
I'd like to make the motion, since it's been going on for so long, and it's obvious that we didn't go by the plans, because if we did, the curb outs would be the right size, 3 or 4 parking spaces would be eliminated. I'd like to make the motion that, we put in a access from East Main Street, fix the issues down Mountain Street, and fix Miss Eaton's Lawn. Or Messer Street, sorry.
okay. That's your motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just have a statement to read in my comments, and then you can make your second and go on. This is dated, this covenant's made and executed the 29th day of January 2007. Whereas the city of Blue Ridge desires to construct a sidewalk on East Main Street between Depot Street and Mountain Street, known as the project number. Known therefore, for value received, Jan Eaton and Steve Eaton do hereby grant to the city of Blue Ridge the right to execute certain construction over and upon my land abutting on and adjacent to the right-of-way in such manner as the city may deem proper to support or accommodate the enhancements of said street, including the right to construct and maintain any required pavers and planters within the easement area shown in the colored orange on the attached plat, which I gave all of y'all this morning. I don't know if anybody read it, so that's why I'm reading it, just to make it part of the record. Dated the 22nd day of August 2005, grantors, in addition to the above, hereby expressly grants to the city of Blue Ridge, its successors and/or signs, the right to demolish and remove in their entirety all buildings, walls, fences, gates, signs, or other improvements or structures of any nature or description lying wholly or partially situated within the easement area, and the right to enter upon the adjacent lands not included in said required easement for the purpose of removing or demolishing said improvement. For the same consideration, I hereby convey and relinquish to the city of Blue Ridge all rights of access between the proposed sidewalk and approaches thereto on the above numbered project, and my remaining real property from which said construction easement is taken as shown on the attached plat prepared by the city of Blue Ridge. And this is dated and signed by Jan and Steve Bowes.
Well,
And I would like to make a comment too. The city of Blue Ridge has spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands on engineering plans for streetscape, and the plan calls for a sidewalk right where she's wanting her curb put in.
Well, if we went by
And-
those plans,
Excuse me,
it'd
I'm
be
talking.
nice.
Excuse me, we're not to that yet. What we're going to do, what she's wanting to do is put a curb in off of East Main Street, which first of all, in my opinion, and Greg's opinion, and he'd be glad to come and tell you he's gonna be here tonight, is it will create a safety hazard. Secondly, it's gonna take away 3 parking spaces that are very, very valuable to downtown merchants. So the people who should be bad should be the downtown merchants. Yes, she says she offers parking on the weekends, which people pay for. But through the week, that will take away 3 parking spaces on that side of the street. So downtown merchants are the ones who should be angry. And then, as far as those plans, when Streetscape goes back, we already have the engineered plans. So Ms. Eaton, are you willing to pay, if you want to keep your curb there, are you willing to pay an engineer to redesign these plans so that you can keep your curb?
I'll let the council go ahead and
Well,
take this issue.
I'm just wondering
please.
because we've spent.
I think we've already
literally
discussed
hundreds
this
of
at
thousands
length
of
this
dollars.
morning at the meeting.
How much money did we spend on engineering plans? It was a lot. Over what, 200? It was over $200,000 for these engineered plans. But just
Which
because
you
you
didn't
want your
follow.
curb,
Which you
we're
didn't
gonna let
follow.
the council vote because you want your curb. And as she said this morning, she doesn't care about the city of Blue Ridge. She wants her law.
Our motion, do I have a second?
I would like to speak, please. I'm not going to be maligned by Ms. Rhonda Thomas at a city council meeting. And I will say also in response, Mayor Whitener, to what you just read, I am not unique in any setting, any situation. Every merchant, every property owner down the main street signed exactly what I signed in order for you to proceed for your sidewalk renovation project. So I am not unique. You singled me out as though I were the only one who had signed such an easement, and that is misrepresenting the situation. I'll let the council deal with this. We've gone through this. We have been working on this
We have a
for
motion.
years.
I would like to also add that I believe this is politically motivated, and if anybody wants a good look at what happens when you get on Donna Whitener's bad side, this is it, right here. There was a place directly across the
Okay,
street,
that's enough.
the sidewalk was
That's
put up,
inappropriate.
that was
Okay, do we
allowed
have
to
a
have a
second?
curb cut by asking for it.
Do we have a second?
Identical situation.
The motion was to put in a curb cut drive in off East Main Street to fix the issues on coming down Messer Street and to fix her.
All in favor? All opposed?